Hey everybody, Scoutcrafter here again. I'm here with Kenji the Wonder Cat, and today we have a nice little video for a nice hammer and a wrench, and I think you're going to enjoy it, so let's check it out.
Okay, not too long ago, after we did the hammer demonstration, which a lot of you seem to enjoy, and a good buddy of the show, Lou, his name is Lou Tucker, and the guy he's amazing. He's 69 years old, right? And he says he says, look, I got a hammer to send you. I want to do some downsizing. So I'm figuring maybe it's going to be an old restoration project that he was going to send in. So I said, sure, Lou, and I sent him the address, and look what Lou sends me. Is this amazing? I don't know if you hammer guys, this is an original Woody. This is from 1997. Let me give you the backstory on this. First of all, when you see somebody on YouTube or something, sometimes you go to their channel and you look at their videos that they liked. And Lou and I, if we got together, I know he's 69, I'm 56, we would have hours to spend talking because he's into everything I'm into. I mean, between the ham radio, steel guitars, everything that I saw on his liked videos was a video that I already liked. So, hey guys, I really hope I do get up to meet with Lou one day. But let me tell you about this hammer and where it comes from. Hart Manufacturing, who made this hammer, and you can see the top here. It says a Hart Woody and trademark. Now, Hart Manufacturing, and you can see this is stainless steel polished. Hart Manufacturing, there was a lot of manufacturers that were making these California framing hammers. They were really big, took off in the late 80s and in early 90s. And this was their 1997 Hart. Got this design from Todd Douglas Conrad. You might recognize the middle name as Douglas Hammers. And I got some great news about that too. Douglas is going to be making another batch of hammers. A lot of people were saying, man, I wish I could have picked up one of them. And you see how expensive they are. They're going back into production. I'll put the link over here.
Now, if you go to douglastool.com, you put your name on a list, and they'll email you when they're ready.
So Hart takes the Douglas design, makes this Woody hammer, and you can see the Woody hammer. And you can see this is a 22 ounce, and you can see here because it says, HW. It's Hart, and it's a 22 ounce. And on the other side here, you could see their 1997, and you could see, there you go. And their trademark there. And this here, and this is again, patent pending, with that, before the actual patent numbers came out. This here was for overstrike protection. If you ever worked with a hammer before, a lot of times, if you slip off or something and you hit here, that breaks a lot of handles. So this design was protected against overstrike. It was, carpenters loved it. And this here is a high torque nail puller. I don't know if I demonstrated that last time, and let me show you how exactly that works.
Okay, let me show you how revolutionary this was. If you wanted to pull a nail normally, you would take the claw, as we always do, place it into here, and then pull back this way. But believe it or not, when you have it this close to the handle, like this is, the torque that you get is tremendous, because now you're pulling that over like this. When you get to this point here, you could either use the head like this and complete, or you could use the tail like this and complete the pull. So it was revolutionary. And this thing really, when you had a nail that was really hard to get out, this would really, because of the fulcrum between here and here compared to here and here, it was a big difference. Show you again. We'll drive a nail in. This is one of the nails we used the other day. Just drive this one in a little bit. And okay, now when you get to that point there, we pull it in here, pull it out like that, turn it, and then pull it the rest of the way. And you can, when you had to pull really stiff nails, this nail puller here was the ticket. And lastly, one other feature this had was it had the waffled face. They call this a milled face. In other words, they would draw a mill over this to make it, so that the nail wouldn't slip too much. So very interesting hammer. Again, the Hart Woody. These sold for $79 back in 1997. And that was considered a lot of money back then, not like the crazy prices today, but that was a lot of money. And so I just want to thank Lou again. That was a really nice thing to send in for the channel. And what a beautiful hammer, huh? And let's get to our next. We also have a wrench. So I come home today, and there's a box in the mail, and I thought it was something I ordered, but it wasn't. It was a friend, John McLaurin. And John's out of Shreveport, Louisiana.
Really nice guy. And John sent, he says, look, I was going through stuff in my garage and I found this stuff I thought you'd like it, maybe for the show, for the channel. And but check this out. Here's what's interesting. These are Harbor Freight tool catalogs. This one here is the newest catalog, right? This is brand new. And this catalog here is from 1998. Now, this is a 20-year-old catalog, and they're almost identical. And we were laughing because even John mentioned it in the letter. He goes, wow, he goes, you know, I think some of the prices are better today. And it's true. I was going through some of these catalogs. Now, here's the old one. Again, this is the new one. Here's the old one. If you look at some of the prices and some of the name brands, like John even pointed out, they used to carry DeWalt and things like that, which a lot of them they don't carry anymore. But a lot of the prices in here are identical to what they are now. I mean, they're the same. In fact, I think a lot of these are cheaper now than they were then. But they had, you know, back then air tools were really big. Do you remember? I mean, I know I outfitted a lot of air tools, but they were so loud. You know, air tools have kind of found their way, and you don't even see them used anymore. Everybody's using battery. But very interesting that some of the prices are definitely cheaper 20 years later. I don't know how that can be, you know. I mean, we look at some of them old catalogs and you say, and look, the catalog looks identical, even to some of the parts. I know you guys out there that deal with Harbor Freight, you're saying they all look the same, but you got a lot of Milwaukee's. Look at some of the prices on them, you know. $234 for a drill driver, 14 volt. I mean, that's a lot of money, right? Compared to today's. So sometimes things, you know, work out in funny ways, and these were, you know, pretty decent prices back then, back in Harbor Freight days. But I don't know how come it didn't. How come their prices are so stable, or whatever the case is, you know. The Chinese manufacturing hasn't changed much. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But what John sent in, what was really cool, and he also sent in, he said he had one of their flyers, one of their specials. And he also pointed out that back then when this was made, they had no retail stores. These were all mail order only. And I remember that because, you know, you had to only do mail order. But this is what John sent in. He says, look at this. He says, this would be great for the channel. And I was like, you know what? You're right. So, do you remember these? I used to see these on TV. It's called a ZipWrench, and they had a little switch here. Now, I took it out. I had to open it up because, you know, the batteries since then were corroded, but you were able to test it out in the store. So, how cool is that? You remember Billy Mays? He's long gone. R.I.P. Billy. But, yeah, it told everything that this wrench does, so I thought we'd test it out and see how this thing holds up. What's interesting about this wrench is down here, it came with some extra jaws that were nylon jaws. So if you had something that was, you know, that could be marred, you put the nylon jaws on here and they would not scratch the surface. So let's take it out and give it a shot. First thing out of the package we notice is that the type of metal that they used, I believe this was an early, what they call Chinesium. And it is a kind of a mix between, see, they even brought, it's almost like a zinc, you know, that zinc casting they used to use and stuff like that, that it really but they use brushed metal, and it's funny because John was even laughing. He goes, I'll send you this wrench. He goes, try not to explode it when you use it. But look how quickly, first let me show you the gear ratio when you try and open it here. It's pretty, you know, it takes quite a while to get the thing open or closed by using it just from your thumb, right? But check it out when you use their little side. It's a little toggle, left and right toggle, up and down. Watch this, how quickly that opens and closes. Uses two AAA batteries that are back here. I replaced. There was a little bit of corrosion, but took care of that. You could see here. And do not use as a hammer, which is, you know, I was pretty much hoping to. But pretty cool, isn't it? It is pretty interesting. And how, so let's put it on the wrench tester and see how this thing holds up. I think that's pretty cool though, how that opens and closes, isn't it? The ZipWrench, Billy May square slide. Now I don't want to get any practice with this or anything, so that you say, well, you know, let's try it right up. But first thing, okay, so when you tighten it, I guess you just hold it here. Okay, it tightens up on the wrench, and then it stops. Now the key is that when you use the wrench, you can't have your hand up high on here because you'll hit that button. So, but it does, you know, it's working. And like I said, if you felt the weight of this wrench, you would really
I'd be afraid to put any torque on it, and like John says, to let it explode on you. But it's working, right? But I don't know if you know, you're supposed to readjust it, or I can get it to work. It works. You know, it is a little strange, and we've never used it before, so that's unusual. Sometimes when you have a recess here, it can catch on a corner of a nut or something like that. But I guess once you got used to using it, and let's try it with different nuts and see how that works. Okay, now here's where it shines, right? Here's where you have a bunch of different, this is where they would show you on TV. They'd say, okay, that's one, then push it down like that's another one, push it down like that, and that's another one there. And then same thing going up. So, you know something? It's a gimmick, and you know how I like gimmicks, but it does work. Pretty interesting, right? But again, if you felt the weight of it, you know, with the plastic back and stuff, it really doesn't feel like you would be able to put more than, you know, 25 pounds of torque before this thing would split open. But it is, you know, I know that this thing on television probably sold a ton of wrenches because just the factor that, you know, of what it does. You know, they have ones now that are mechanical that do the same thing instead of battery, but this one's battery. So pretty interesting. So in closing, I just want to say Christmas for me came a little early this year. Lou, thank you so much. This is just absolutely beautiful. And John, thank you. I can't thank you enough for everybody. And hope you have a nice day. Take care. Thanks very much for tuning in. Bye-bye.